that the Super Bowl is over, let's turn our focus to New York sports and only New York teams. And joining me now, Sid Rosenberg. He is the co-host of Bernie and Sid in the Morning weekdays on 77 WABC Radio and host of Sid Sports Sunday. So we did a show this morning. Thank you for joining me, Sid.
Always a pleasure to join you. Love being here. Thank you. And I did do a show this morning, and I did talk about the Super Bowl just a little. So,
yeah. All right. But, all right. So I feel like it's a line of demarcation because we've been talking about Kansas City and San Francisco and other not so enlightening sports stories all week. So let's focus on our New York sports teams now for 2020. Sid, Eli Manning has retired. We saw Derek Jeter's career come full circle. I know he'll be inducted to the Hall of Fame this summer, but it was announced just a couple of weeks ago. Who is the new face, or who are the new faces of New York sports that could be like Eli and Derek?
Well, that's a tough task to replace those two guys, right? But you got to start with the baseball, and you got to start with Aaron Judge. Only because the Yankees are always playing meaningful baseball games, right? He's been in the playoffs now 3 times, 2017, nearly a World Series, good-looking kid, big home run hitter. He's got all the makeup of a New York guy. You got to start with him. Look, Pete Alonso had a great year last year for the Mets. Broke all of Aaron Judge's records, 50-plus home runs. Can he do it again? I don't know, but he's a terrific ball player. Jacob deGrom is the best pitcher in baseball, but he's 4 years removed, 5 now, from the World Series against Kansas City. So the Met guys got to catch up in terms of important games played. So because of that, it's got to be Aaron Judge.
What are your thoughts on a guy like Saquon Barkley, though?
Well, the Giants got to win football games. He's a great-looking guy. He's a tremendous running back. He is one of the best and most dynamic players in the National Football League.
And a great interview, you know, from my perspective with the mic in his face.
He is great. He's very articulate. He's funny. He looks great on camera. But he's won 9 games in 2 years. So at the end of the day, if you look good and put up big numbers and you can't win, it doesn't mean anything. So he could be that guy if the Giants are really good. Listen, so could Daniel Jones. Right. So could Sam Darnold. But right now, Aaron Judge has to be that guy. All right,
I'm just going to go down like a list, and we're going to go to the bad side of things right now. Oh, those Knicks, my orange and blue Knicks. If everyone's calling for Jim Dolan to sell the team, but do you really think that would make a difference?
I don't know, but let's try it. I know one thing, for 20 years, we've tried it with Jim Dolan, and outside of one 54-win season with Carmelo Anthony a couple years ago, more than a couple now, that's all they've done well. It has been a complete disaster. Every year, they brought in big-name coaches, whether it's a Larry Brown or a Phil Jackson. You know, Mike Woodson had 1 decent season. Outside of that, David Fizdale's gone in 2 years. I can't promise you, Tina, that if Dolan sells the team, we're going to relive the 1969 season with the Knicks, but why not try it? And the truth is, he's not a very endearing guy. You know, the whole thing with Charles Oakley didn't help him. Knick fans love Charles Oakley. He's not a very friendly guy. He gets very, very angry when you say those 3 words, sell the team.
Right.
So I say, give it a shot, Jimmy. Do New York a favor. Sell the team.
All right, so speaking of basketball, let's go to the Nets now, the Brooklyn Nets. Now with Kyrie Irving hurt again. Do you think they should just rest him the rest of the season, save him for Kevin Durant? And that would then, they probably wouldn't make the postseason. You get a better draft pick. What do you think? But they're excited to watch when they win.
It's a fair question, but again, you just said it. Right now, if the season ended today, the Nets are a low playoff seed.
Right.
And if you're Brooklyn, you want the lights on during the playoffs. Right? You want those lights on. You want people showing up just to add a little more excitement about the return of Kevin Durant next year. So my thought is it makes a lot of sense. Better draft choice, rest the guy.
Sure.
But I think even if you make the playoffs as a 7 or 8 seed, that really makes it exciting for Kevin Durant next year. Yeah. So I don't see the Nets shutting him down anytime soon.
That's a good point. And then you never know what other free agent could sign.
That's right.
All right, so who do you think will be the first team to win a championship? As we talk, the biggest championship day of the year, Super Bowl Sunday.
In New York?
In New York.
Well, it'll be the Yankees. It'll be the Yankees.
And it could be in a few months.
And it could be in a couple of months, right. They are the best team in baseball on paper. The addition of Garrett Cole makes them really the best team in baseball. Now, the Mets are very good, too. Baseball were great. It's everything else right now that's up for debate. But I will say this. There's a team that no one ever talks about. I'm a Ranger fan, and we're doing much better. Panarin's having a great year. Zibanejad's having a great year. The Islanders. Yeah. They get Barry Trotz 2 years ago. They make the playoffs last year. Robin Leonard has a great season. He's gone.
He's gone now, but they're still playing well.
They're playing great. In fact, only Pittsburgh and Washington are playing better inside the conference. All their young kids, Barzal, Bailey, Lee, they're all putting up big numbers. The Islanders deserve a lot of credit. They're in Brooklyn. Nobody cares. I get it. But that team deserves a lot of credit.
What would you say right now is the most disappointing part? Like you said, Yankees baseball, it separates themselves from the rest of the sports. Is there a particular team or in general? Who's disappointing you the most?
Well, the Knicks are the most disappointing.
Okay, we already talked about
that already.
Anything else?
God, the Knicks, they were good. Remember that Patrick Ewing, who's a pretty good ball player.
7 years ago. I mean, it was 7 years ago they had the 54 wins.
That was the one season with
7 years
Carmelo,
ago,
right?
though.
Right.
Oh my
It's
God.
got to be the Jets. You know, I really thought the Jets this year were ready to make a 9-win, 10-win stand. I thought they would vie for a wild card spot. That went to Buffalo instead. So, you know, Sam Darnold had the mononucleosis early on.
So it was a brutal start to the season.
It was a brutal start. Le'Veon Bell never became that player we thought he'd be after leaving Pittsburgh. It was just a very disappointing start. They finished the year much better, the Jets, but I thought at the very least they'd been a 9-win team, vie for a playoff spot. So looking back, I would say the Jets were the biggest. I knew the Giants would stink.
Right.
I knew the Knicks would stink, but the Jets surprised me.
Even though it was more than the Giants, it was just disappointing for them. I guess you kind of answered this, though, with the Islanders. I would say, who is the most fun team, encouraging? Is there a storyline this year coming up, even if we go into football season, that you find fun, encouraging?
Well, I think the most interesting football line that could be fun is Daniel Jones. Let's face it.
Now Eli's gone.
Eli's
He's got
gone.
a year under his belt.
That's it, and I'm happy that he's not playing someplace else. He's retiring as a New York Football Giant after 16 years. We saw enough, Tina, from Daniel Jones last year to say, if this kid limits his mistakes, doesn't turn over the football nearly as often, he could be really good. You know, he's got a good arm, he's got a good head. I think a brand new coach, the kid from New England, Joe Judge, can make him a better player. They brought in Jason Garrett, that's going to help him. They brought in Freddie Kitchens, that's going to help him. So I think the guy with the most upside that could really become a star in his second season in New York is Giant quarterback Daniel Jones.
So even if he just gets him into the postseason. It's funny. I mean, it's true. The Yankees, I mean, they're the best team on paper anywhere right now. They've got to win it, though. Is there anything that could hold them back? I mean, I love the way that they played through those injuries last year, but look who knocked them out of the postseason last year. The Astros and all of their, you know, garbage banging and whistling. So to me, and Boston's a mess. They don't even have a manager yet. So I don't know. Is it too dangerous for us to say it's a shoo-in?
Well, it should be. I think this is the first time, Tina, that Aaron Boone goes into the season. If he doesn't get there, he'll be criticized. 2 years ago, not the case. His rookie season. Even last year, not the case. This year, the expectations are they're going to win it. Now, listen, they still have a very old pitching staff. Tanaka is no guarantee. Paxton came over, had a good year last year, but are you really sold on Paxton? Yeah, you got Garrett Cole. That's fantastic. You got a terrific bullpen. But I still think the Yankee pitching, although vastly improved with Cole, could pose a problem later on in the season. That's not a guarantee. This is not the 69 Orioles or Mets. So if there's one spot where the Yankees could go south, I don't think they will. I don't think they will. But if there's one spot where they could go south, could be the rotation.
Real quick answer as we wrap up here, Sid.
Okay.
XFL starts a week from today. Is it successful? Does it last?
I should be. It's football.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
Okay.
I had season tickets for the USFL. Donald Trump owned the team, okay? I saw Herschel Walker after he won the Heisman Trophy. I saw Doug Flutie after he won the Heisman Trophy.
High-level talent.
Big-time talent.
Yeah.
These guys with nicknames on the back of their jersey and the whole wrestling thing.
Well, they're not doing that this year.
I know, but to me, that'll always stick in my head. He hate me, he love me, he want me.
It's going to be different. I'm giving it a chance.
You are?
Yes.
Oliver Luck is a good guy, Andrew Luck's father, so it could work. But for me, I'm a one-league guy when it comes to football, just the NFL.
Okay, we'll see. I'm going to give it a try. Sid, so great to see you.
Good to see you.
It's like the happy new year of New York sports. We're starting anew. We'll see what happens.
I'm ready for it.
Sports Extra will be right back.